Divorce in the Black recently released on Amazon, starring Megan Good, Corey Hardrick, Richard Lawson, and Debbie Morgan, is Tyler Perry's latest 2024 release.
And it is every bit of the salacious hot mess that you expected it to be.
Divorce in the Black tells the story of what happens when Ava's husband, Dallas, decides to walk out on their dysfunctional marriage, but changes his mind after she tries to move on with her life.
First, we'll give our no spoilers review of the film, then we'll run down the fine details of this ridiculousness.
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App or click the thanks button on this video, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia or become a channel member by clicking the join button to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber. This movie, I don't even know what to say about this movie, and everybody's talking about it. You guys were on one of our other videos like, please talk about this movie. So here we are. Divorce in the Black, Tyler Perry. Like, at this point, I'm almost ready to be like, look, Tyler, just stop it.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry. Like, why? Why this movie?
Everybody done heard about this movie. A lot of people are telling us about it. Now, the first thing I would say is we watched it, and then I seen on Twitter that Tyler Perry was talking about how, talking to his audience, his fans, and saying, this opening scene gonna really get y'all, basically. I don't remember exactly what he said.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, wait till y'all see this. I was, hoping y'all could see this opening scene. Like, I couldn't wait. Like, he was anticipating how the audience would react to the opening scene, which, by the way, we will be breaking down in this video in the spoilers portion of our review, but this is the non-spoilers part. So we watched it, and, there are a couple things I just have to say. I've thought long and hard about this. Tyler Perry, as of late, his films are very much like, I'm just trying to be ratchet and salacious, and I'm really not trying to do and tackle the same thing as far as the subject matter, right?
Yeah.
As before.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like what the audience want. That's what they expect, and that's why it's just we get what we get because we know what to expect from them, right? It's not like I'm trying to do this this great gripping tales, right? I just want people to be like, oh, whoa, can you believe that? Kind of like the gossip thing, right? Like with reality shows and all of this, people go there because what I want to see is, hey, I'm doing gossip, right? You're doing gossip. This person did something outrageous, and it's makes
popular.
Me gasp.
Like, that's a big part of the culture right now. But the downside of that is that he is creating art, but it's like your art is now being categorized. Like, for me now, Tyler Perry is just kind of guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I would never put it in the same category. Even going into it, my mindset is not the same category as, let's say, A Color Purple or some other film, some Spike Lee movie, or, even Boys in the Hood or anything like that. It's just, it's its own thing. If you like Tyler Perry stuff, and some of his stuff I do like, then you're gonna like this movie. But there's the flip side to that. The flip side is that, remember that movie, The Jazzman's Blues? That movie was one he said was his life's work. And I could see that a serious effort had been made on that movie. It was like, I really want this movie to be hard hitting. But because you just like actors can be typecast, so can directors, right?
Yeah.
And if they think you're like the ratchet, church movie guy, then critics, even, viewers like myself, they're just not going to take you seriously in the same way, even when you make that effort,
and you still won't be able to pull it off because you're so used to doing this one thing, right? Like muscle memory, how I write a story, because he's doing all the writing and everything too. So the way I write a story, and everybody is formulaic. Songwriters, movie, script writers, all that. You basically do the same things over and over. So if you're doing this for the ratchet of TV, the ratchet of movies, the shock value stuff, then when you try to go and make your serious effort, you're going to revert back to your muscle memory of that. And then you're going to develop your characters the same way you would the ridiculous, over the top characters. And that's just how it goes. And so when you try it with something like Jazzman's Blues with a kind of ironic title or oxymoronic title, it doesn't hit because you haven't been exercising that muscle.
And it was I think that was one of his better efforts, and I could see where it is totally different than than most of the other films he's made. But, it still fell a little bit short, and maybe someday we'll review that, but not today. We're here today because of Divorce in the Black.
And the title, so if you've seen a trailer or something, then she said, they're getting a divorce, right? So let me kind of tell you what happened. So basically this woman, Ava, who is... and
this isn't a spoiler.
Is
just
making good. Right, character. She marries into this family, the Bertrand family. Like, Bertrand, when I heard that, I was like, oh, Tyler Perry, he's from New Orleans. So, that's one of those popular names in Louisiana. But so she marries into this family that's supposed to be this bad family, the Bertrands. And then they end up getting a divorce. And then he turns into this crazy guy, kind of like the old Lifetime Enough type of movies, right? And then it turns into like a little stalker movie and stuff. But she says in somewhere that she wants her divorce in the black, and then when the movie ends, it has nothing to do with that, or she didn't even I don't know, there was no redemption in it for her.
But
she didn't come out on top.
Well, look, you're supposed to know by now that Tyler Perry likes to teach us vocabulary words. Think about acrimony. Nobody was really saying that as much, as far as our everyday vernacular. Was not really used all that much, but he's like acrimony, mea culpa, all of these things. He's teaching us stuff. So we got to respect his gangster on that. But that, so this is no different to Divorced in the Black. I mean, we all understand, kind of the accounting term of being in the black, what that means, what that's symbolic of. We get it.
But why would he just all of a sudden title his film this?
I think there is the element where it's kind of like I'm trying. I don't want to accuse Tyler Perry of trying to be deep on some level, because I do think some of his themes are very deep, right? It's just how they're executed. And this movie is no different, right? There were some spots where I think he had missed opportunities to really develop the characters better, but we're so busy trying to do the ratchet salacious thing, dun dun dun, let me just one-upsmanship myself on the most ridiculous things that can happen in a film, that we lose some of the good things that could have been developed developed in this film.
And if you do it with this title, it's very weird that you have to have the character say it, but if that's going to be the theme, then you have to execute on that, right? So yeah, it's just weird. So she goes off basically, and I don't know, a trip to the woods or something, we're gonna say.
Well, maybe it's supposed to be this double or triple entendre, right? Is Divorced in the Black, okay, the accounting term is black people divorcing. It's a black divorce, black in the sense of dark. It's a dark divorce, bad things happening around it. So maybe,
but
maybe he was going there with it.
That she wanted to be in the black, which doesn't make sense.
Which is more in line with the accounting type definition of
but
being in the black.
She did get the house, but anyway. But she went off somewhere, and then she kind of redeemed herself because, hey, look, watch this video, you running track. Oh, wow, got a new guy. Typical Tyler Perry, she got a new guy. That's it. So I don't understand this whole in the black thing. But speaking of divorce, you said everybody in here, well, not everybody, quite a few of the
stars were recently divorced, right? Because we have Corey Hardrick, that last name. Corey Hardrick, who was married to Tia, Tia and Tamara, the twins. So they got divorced. And of course, we know that Megan Good was divorced from Devon Franklin, the pastor, that guy she was married to before. And now she's with Jonathan, what's that guy's name? Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
And she got with, Jonathan Majors, who is basically who was Dallas to his girlfriend before this.
Because Jonathan Majors just had that whole scandal where, he was accused of, assaulting his girlfriend and stuff like that before. So, so she was like the cleanup woman who kind of came in and, made him seem normal. And maybe he is, I have no judgment there. I'm just saying she made him seem normal and stable and they seem like they're supposed to be happy in their relationship or whatever, but that's their life. But anyway, so then also the guy who plays the father is
Richard Lawson.
Yes. And Richard Lawson was married to what's
Beyonce knows mama.
Yeah, Tina.
Tina Beyonce.
Tina knows Tina Beyonce or something like that, I think is what her original last name is. Beyonce or something.
Beyonce.
But anyway, so she knows Lawson. So they recently divorced within like the last couple years or whatever. So like 3 of the main characters were recently divorced. Of course, we know this is not by accident or whatever. Okay, Tyler, whatever statement you were making, maybe they were able to channel some of their angst about the divorce into their characters, blah, blah, blah. But okay. So, but other things, because, you know, I have really thought long and hard about like Tyler Perry, his art, his films, whatever TV shows he's putting out. And then Tyler Perry, like the business person who is doing things for the industry, let's say.
Right,
you know, Megan Good, she said that this was the biggest check she ever had.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem, right? So people may be like, oh, y'all talking trash about this movie or talk trash about Tyler Perry, but he a billionaire, so he must be doing something right. But to me, the goal of everything is not to make money or to make $1 billion. So
well,
I don't, just because you make $1 don't mean that you've done things right.
Or
to me, it's definitely indicated that you may have done a lot of things wrong, but that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, that's more of a capitalist discussion, which we will not have at this moment.
We're not going to have at this moment. But so just because he made a lot of money or so these actors made money, and I'm barely able to pay my bills, like that don't make me like the movie. Because, oh my God, this movie's so good because Megan Good got paid a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but, you know, and I think the other implication is that these actors are not being paid what they're worth, so to speak, right? Because I remember Cicely Tyson, he paid her $1 million to be in, you know, what's that movie?
Is it the one?
Ashtray, you know, that movie, you know, so.
Yeah, Fall from Grace.
Fall from Grace, yes, A Fall from Grace. So he, you know, he paid her $1 million, you know, like normally she wouldn't be getting $1 million in her 90s, but she is. And he was honoring her. And so I do appreciate his respect.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you could make, if you paid writers instead of overpaying actors, I'm going to say it's overpaying, but the point is that the money that's going there couldn't be split up to go to at least one other writer to develop a plot.
And you know what? I don't really know. Maybe he's paying all of his people well, and the writers that he does hire, maybe he pays them well. You know, like I want to think
writers.
Yeah, he has hired some writers. I think maybe mostly for like the TV shows and stuff like that. So he has hired some writers.
Nice.
So, you know, hey. But I want to think the best of him in this respect, because I do think he is trying to do a thing in terms of the industry, but like, you know, him having his studios and all of that.
I understand that, but that's different than when I'm watching a movie and figuring out if I like it or, you know, that. So
that's my
different.
point. It's a separate thing, like, and I have to look at it separately. So I can be highly critical of his art and the product of all of these great things that he set up with his studios, with it, you know, everything like that. But while at the same time respecting the fact that, you know, he is the one with the studio, he took his money and turned it into that, and he is doing things for the community in that respect. Like the only way I can reconcile it is to say that it's just like these are two different things. Yeah. And, you know.
But it's sad that we have to even say that because some people don't get it.
Usually it goes in the reverse, right? Usually we're asking the question of, does what the person does outside of the art mean that the art is no longer good or valid? Whereas in this case, we're asking like, okay, his art at times might be mediocre, you know, or whatever in some ways. But what he does outside of the art is so amazing that, like, you know, do we quote unquote excuses? But even as I'm thinking of this more, a sign that as a community, we can have good, the bad, the ugly, because, you know, the broader community, right? They make bad movies. Look at that movie we just watched with Kevin Costner, Horizon. It just flopped. You know, it flopped big time. And this dude, like, this was his life's work. And he decided he was going to make a 4-part film that, you know, was going to be 3 hours each part. Like, essentially 12 hours and 4 movies worth.
Instead of doing a miniseries.
And he mortgaged his house and his life, you know, in order to do this, right? The studios were like, no. But he was like, yes. And I don't even know what's going to happen if we're going to be able to see the other parts.
But see, he didn't know his audience like Tyler Perry.
Well, but see, Tyler Perry knows. He knows if he drops it. And this is no judgment on the people who like what he's putting out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so he had test runs, right, when he had the plays and stuff. So you knew his audience before he started jumping into the movies. But Kevin Costner just jumping in with an epic is kind of like, bruh, come on, you jumped off the deep end with your own money. Like,
and the criticism of his art is not a criticism of him as a person, because we don't know Tyler Perry from anybody.
I don't know that
and
guy.
he might be just the most wonderful and nice person. That has zero to do, because we all know somebody, like even at our jobs or our used to be jobs, whatever, who's just the sweetest, nicest as they can be, but their work product is not
so Spike
amazing.
Lee called him, he was talking about coonery buffoonery and talking about Tyler Perry, but he still named a studio after him, a soundstage.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. So, you know,
he can do it. We can do it.
We don't have to get all off into that aspect of it, but I would just say this movie, like, I had to really kind of think of it, because I'm like, am I just going to come out and bash every Tyler Perry film? But, you know, and another thing we're going to roll out in a minute or two is Heit has devised a wonderful rating system for us to be able to rate all of these new movies that we're watching, to give you an idea of the areas where we thought that they were amazing, good, bad, the ugly, but he'll introduce that shortly. But another thing that I wanted to bring up as far as the actors that are in there, Richard Lawson, I did not know he was the black man in Poltergeist.
Bruh, the black
back in the
man.
80s, because, you know,
he was
only
the one downstairs when they were trying to, I don't know, channel her through, I don't know.
Yeah, they were trying to,
we
like,
just watched
you know,
it. I don't even remember what happened.
They had to do their measurements or whatever for the Poltergeist activity. And he was like, you know, one of the technical guys doing that back in the 80s, back when it was only allowed to be like one black guy in mainstream movie. He was the black guy. And I was like, oh, I didn't recognize that, him in that. But, you know, he was in this film. And so, you know, he's a seasoned actor. He's also the father of Bianca Lawson. And y'all probably know her more recently from Queen Sugar. She was amazing in that. And mentioning Queen Sugar, I think of Queen Sugar as like, that is a series where all these crazy, wild things happen in it. But why is it the way it's presented in there? It doesn't feel like just the over-the-top ridiculousness of some of the Tyler Perry films. I'm not quite sure. Y'all go in the comments, shows, I'm sorry. Y'all go in the comments and tell me why you think it just feels different, because I know y'all watched Queen Sugar, a lot of you did, and why it just feels different. Not to bash it, but like, it doesn't feel this. It's like when you watch it, you can tell who's, you know, like this, so-and-so made this, Tyler Perry made that. You know, people have their signatures. But I think even in spite of some of the most outrageous things that happened in that series, it was, I can't use the word, is it more subtle? Was there more realism? Is it just that?
Was it going for those twists and stuff?
Maybe
like that?
it's not the twist. Maybe it's just like, bam, one crazy thing happens and they let you have it and they flesh out that one thing, as opposed to bam and the twist on the twist on the twist that we often get in a Tyler Perry film. But, you know, that's kind of the thought there. But then Bianca Lawson also was in some stuff, you know, in the early 2000s. She's been around a long time. Like, she was in Save the Last Dance. You know, she was the guy's original girlfriend before he got with Julia Stiles' character.
He left her.
He left her for her.
But Julia Stiles.
She has aged marvelously, though.
I was
like,
just thinking that.
She does not look all that different. You know, her black is not cracking. She looks great. But anyway, so she is the daughter of Richard Lawson. Now, what's tripped out is her mama is like Berry Gordy is her uncle, I think, or either great uncle or her uncle. So like, her mother is a Gordy, as in Berry Gordy, right? So, you know, they were already well connected and stuff like that. I just found that interesting because I had no idea. But, you know, so they're like seasoned actors. And then the other person we have to talk about is like Debbie Morgan has been around forever. First time I ever saw Debbie Morgan was when I was a kid growing up, and my mama used to be watching All My Children, and it was Angie and Jesse. Some of y'all are old enough to remember this. But yeah, that was the first time I ever saw her. But actually, I went back later and was watching like some reruns of What's Happening Now that you had put on like a while back. And she was actually on that show. And we saw her in like one of the Roots, not the original Roots series, but one of those Roots series she was also in too. So she's been around forever, a phenomenal actress, which brings me to this point. You know, like we're getting like our big name black actors in these films, but then the movie quality.
Bruh, yeah. But see, they're big names, but once they get older, they're really not anymore. So then that's where Tyler Perry is doing a solid. Yeah, like with Cicely Tyson, right? You get to pull you. Come on, you haven't been in nothing in a while. Come and be in this movie. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll pay you some good money. Yeah. Right? But yeah, so we get some big names and stuff. I guess in our world, Megan Good is pretty big.
She's a beloved actor in our community.
He's been doing that, and this sort of movies they get to be in, and I don't know why, but
well, it keeps them working. But one more thing, there is a lady that is on Instagram and all over the place who is claiming that Tyler Perry stole the idea for this movie from her book. I know you guys have seen this on social media too. I don't know if it's true or if it isn't true. We do know just from evidence, and Tyler Perry's not the only one who does it, where they take little, they're inspired by other films. We know that this happens with directors and stuff all the time. And in some cases, it's actually an homage to the original director, right? But, you should also know that somebody is saying you stole my story.
So one thing what happens too is that's why people don't accept stuff unsolicited anymore. Right? Because all you got to do is send it, and then later on, because this stuff is so similar. If y'all go to Tubi, I could show you like 8,000 movies that's basically the same movie, right? So then you send your stuff out, and there's a chance, if they had access to it, that, people can claim that, you took this idea from here. But she claimed that he got the book and sent it back, right? So I'm guessing that's saying that, hey, look, we didn't even look at your stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, if you received it, then, Now, I mean, when you say sent it back, was it like returned to sender unopened or whatever? But, apparently, like, this is the thing. If you are a writer, if you're shopping around your story, your script, your whatever for a movie, and, people will steal your ideas. And, of course, we know that personally here because people steal our ideas about, like our fan theories and stuff. They'll steal those ideas easily.
Oh, yeah.
And won't even think twice about it. We are in a culture of thievery to me because, and not to digress, but I do have to say this. You know how like on Instagram and on especially TikTok and even YouTube, you'll see people who are doing quote unquote reaction videos, right?
Bruh.
Where they have literally stolen somebody else's video. They are not doing anything transformative except having a big face sitting up in the screen, making bucked eyes or something like that.
That's all they do is buck their eyes and just smile, weird,
or point
creepy
in
smile,
one direction or something.
And shake their head,
like that is, to me, that is, you have created absolutely nothing and you are attempting to monetize somebody else's work, which is very different from a true reaction, which is somebody who is giving true actual commentary on what they're seeing. They're stopping it. And, this always, makes me laugh because there are inevitably people who will stop by, on one of our videos where we're giving true commentary. And they're like, well, I wouldn't want to see without the commentary. Well, if you want to see it without the commentary, then take your behind and go to the streaming and stream the movie.
You got to buy it because the black movies ain't on there. But
then go buy it.
There was this video I seen, right? So on Facebook, what people do is they're getting paid for, views and stuff. They download somebody's video and then put it up, right? And I seen one and I was like, oh, dang, this is interesting. I like this. And I commented, tag the creator and stop stealing, right? Mm-hmm. And then the person responded, or let me block you because you want to steal somebody's video and get paid off of their stuff. And then they came back and was like, anything public is not stealing. You're new to the internet, huh? So, bruh.
Yeah, it's just the culture. It's the culture of theft. But like, think about that. Anytime that you're on YouTube and you see like the TikTok symbol in the corner of a video you're watching, anytime you're on Facebook and you see, that icon, that somebody has stolen it. It is not even the original content creator.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I'm not going to follow you because you're not doing what that person do. You're talentless. I want the talent.
Yes.
So send me the link to the talent.
And that's the thing. So, when you're watching it and you realize that it's stolen, like, I just hate that. And so, that's my soapbox for today.
Yeah.
But introduce your new rating system that you developed.
We have a bunch
of
categories, right? So, and they're weighted, right? So, as you see here, we have an overall weighting that is based on an algorithm that compiles
a proprietary algorithm
categories, right? So, we're going to talk about the plot, the cinematography, the entertainment value, the sound, the editing, and the acting to come up with a comprehensive rating for the movie. So, it kind of leaves a little bias out of it of just saying, this is an 8, right? Because you have to tell me why you think it's an 8 because
it's got to add up.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of comprehensive. So with the acting, while we're on the acting, can we talk about the acting?
Let's talk about the acting. So obviously we brought up the fact that these are seasoned actors in this film. Seasoned actors do what they do. They know what they, like they can give a great performance, but they are limited by the script. Let us be clear. Like, to me, the acting in the film was definitely decent, good. Like, it wasn't. Nobody's winning any Oscars, but that's because of the limitation of the script, not because the actors are not good. These are, to me, good actors. So in the acting category, I would give it a 7.
Wow,
I'd give it a 7. Yeah.
What? I wouldn't do that. So what I would say is that they meet standards, right? I didn't see any outstanding performances. I think that Debbie Allen, bruh. I'm sorry, Debbie.
Debbie Morgan.
Debbie Morgan. I feel that she was overacting in portions because of the script and the movie, right? Like the way she delivered these performances would have been better in another movie, but where you're taking it here is ratcheted up, but it's really not. You know what I'm saying?
But see, this is where I'm going to push back on you, because I thought that one of the best areas of this film was the dynamic between the mother and the daughter, and the spot where you felt there was overacting was in what I think was the relationship part that should have been more explored. This dynamic of the mother saying, oh my gosh, how is my daughter in this situation and what is my role? Like, to me, that's not overacting. Like, it was perfect. Debbie Morgan is perfect.
Okay.
And, so I'm pushing back on your, rating, but where are you giving the acting?
Back on my rating.
Listen, I could push back on your rating.
Pushing back on my rating. Also, Richard Lawson, I think he was good. He was the best.
Was definitely good.
Corey Hardrick, he just there because he got a divorce.
Well, okay, now here's the thing. Is it hard to play a crazy person?
I don't know.
Because there's this part where I feel like you just go, especially in a Tyler Perry
your
movie,
eyes and be like,
you could
twist
just
your neck to the side,
point your finger
and say ass straight.
Yeah, like just like in A Fall from Grace.
That I just say he's just there. I think we were exposed to how Megan Good isn't that great of an actress, and I just have to compare her to Jurnee Smollett, who was in Eve's Bayou with her, where they both were great in that, and their careers diverged, and maybe because of colorism, light skin privilege, that Jurnee Smollett just happened to get the better roles, or get roles that Megan the Good could not get.
Yes. Well, I'm totally open to the whole colorism conversation, especially when it comes to Hollywood, and that could well have been what happened. But I also think what happened was that Megan Good, as she became of age, because first of all, we have to establish in Eve's Bayou, which we did break down and have a fan theory on this channel and on our other channel. So if you didn't see that, check it out. They were amazing child actors in that film. Like, they were great. They were amazing in that, hands down. So clearly they had the talent. Now, I don't know if it's a muscle memory thing or whatever, or if it was a choice of the roles. But at some point when Megan Good came of age, she got typecast as like the hottie kind of character, so the young hottie in, I forgot what movie that was. It was like Stomp the Yard, maybe, or one of them type of, I'm from the hood and dancing in college, stepping or whatever type of movies. Maybe it was Stepping, one of those movies. Y'all know, go to the comments and tell me which one it is. It was Stomp the Yard. Okay. So, she got typecast in there. Whereas Jurnee Smollett, I didn't see her for a while, and then she came out in The Great Debaters, right? And so that's a more serious film. That is, and I just think that her film choice contributed to where she is now, with her being maybe viewed as a more serious actor.
Yeah, so I think that it's from practice, right? So you don't get that practice in the same way in those same type of roles. So then it atrophies, right? And maybe you still go to classes and stuff, but this ain't the same as just doing that for your work, and maybe sometimes trying to be like a method actor or something. But yeah, I'm going to say...
Jurnee Smollett was in a Tyler Perry movie though too.
Yeah.
She was.
She was in that Temptation movie.
Yeah.
But she still got better roles too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that this is probably like a 5. Maybe in acting.
You just
there.
Y'all can already see that Heit is going to rate everything lower.
Yeah,
I think my
now that you say that, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a 4 for acting, because
everything I say makes him take it down a notch.
Where do you want to take it?
I guess we can talk about sound. And, so for me, sound, and I might even do sound and cinematography together. With sound, there wasn't anything really special.
You like that opening scene?
Well, so the opening scene sound, they did have some good, because it was like ratcheting up the tension. So I will give a positive for that. But then what I want to take away for is there's this country music, and everywhere I turn, not that I don't like country music, because I actually do, But like this gimmicky now, because country music is in for Black folks, we just gonna see it everywhere. And and I just think that Tyler Perry was jumping on the trend because it wasn't even a Black artist country music that was in
I
here.
agree with you there. So like that's the whole thing he did with using the divorced actors, right? Now you're doing it with this country music, and then you like, I know country. I'm gonna put a white country song in my movie.
Yeah.
And like, wait, huh, bro?
Not that, I mean, it could be an amazing, the song sounded good, but the point being that I just feel like he's just jumping on the train of everything should be country, and we're all wearing cowboy hats right now.
Yeah, so for that, I'll just he get a 4 for that as well, because you threw that song up in there like that, and then to have the characters mention it, right? So it's like, hey, I'm from a small town in Georgia, we're guessing, right? I'm from a small town in Georgia. That means I listen to country music.
Yes. So I'm going to give it, my rating would be a 6. Is what I'll rate it. Kind of annoyed with the country music selection that was in there, but then also feeling like he did use his score was good in when he wants to ratchet up the ratchetry.
Yeah. And the song was Chris Stapleton's Either Way. That's a song. So the character mentioned it, and then later on, to try to raise the girl up, Ava, he plays that song. Yeah. So, what did you give it?
I gave it a 6.
You gave it a 6.
And you gave it a 4.
I gave it a 4. Okay.
So then we have, I guess I'd say for editing, with editing, like it, as long as I didn't really notice anything wrong, there was nothing so special about the way the film was edited. So
I have this gripe that was kind of maybe sound, but I think it's editing, because it's like sometimes you may switch scenes, but you have to cut the sound as well. And I kind of noticed it.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice it.
So other than that, you ain't doing nothing spectacular, so you don't get a 10, right? You're just doing basic editing. I knew what happened in the story and everything. And, you get a 5. You meet standard, bro. Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 7. I'll just say it was a 7. Nothing wrong with it. It was meet standards. I didn't notice the thing you noticed. So, it was all right to me.
A couple little spots,
Yeah.
And so then we could take it on over to cinematography. And what I say is that there was this scene, the risen up part, they have this fire, right? Hey, because I'm country, we out here and making a fire. The lighting coming from up under them, right? Because a fire is on the ground, but it's not a flickering light. And you got to do that.
What happens, I think, sometimes with Tyler Perry, because we know he notoriously films his movies really, really quickly, like with Acrimony, he did in like record time. I don't know, was it 5 days or something ridiculous?
Something ridiculous, yeah.
And so the little cheat codes that he's using with like backdrops, green screens, backgrounds and stuff don't always work, but
At least he didn't use it in this film.
Most people probably would not notice the lighting, but I think because of we are filmmakers in a sense, as far as the documentary aspect of it. And I think that we just notice details like that a lot.
Yeah.
And so, but probably the average person wouldn't, which is why I'll go ahead and give it a 7.
A 7?
I think I'm going to give it a 7 on the cinematography, because I think there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm going to say, if you did a good enough job that I wasn't like the cinematography, you can get a 7 in that.
Wow,
category.
He gets a 7. So with me, I'm not that gracious. You know what I'm saying? You have to do something, and I'm like, whoa, this shot is stunning. Look at how you pulled the dolly shot. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, you get a 6. You know what I'm saying? It ain't bad. It's watchable.
Yeah.
It's not like some movies that I've seen where it's like, bruh, I can't even see what's going on. You used the wrong type of lighting. You used the wrong color lighting. I don't know what you're doing. If we did Belly, but I'm not going to even say nothing.
Don't even do it. Don't talk about Belly.
Let us know if you want us to talk about Belly sometime on one of these channels.
So the next category we should take a look at is the plot.
Yes.
Now, plot, oh my goodness. Like, to me, this is where the real problems begin with this film, because the plot was everything you expected it to be, with like some dun 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 extra ratchetry thrown in. And so therefore it was very predictable. Definitely to you, there's nothing that happens, like even the twists or the stuff that's supposed to be shocking to you is just, going in, if you know what the movie is about, you've seen this movie a trillion times. They've made this movie many times before. You know, when you have the crazy ex, like it's, that's the movie. So there's nothing, no special secret sauce. And then all of the opportunities I feel for deeper reflection are missed. They're glazed over. Okay, for a minute, I'm going to have a like serious mother-daughter talk and, talk about maybe where parental failures, or at least perceived parental failures, and, rearing your child and how you wind up with a child to be in a situation, that kind of thing. Those were not really able to be fully explored because we were, in favor of just watching the train wreck.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm going to give the plot a 4.
A 4?
Maybe, you know what?
You're
not even a 4. I'm going to give the plot a 3. I'm going to give the plot gets a 3.
The plot is, let me tell you what happened, y'all. This woman, she done whatever. So like I tell you, she went off to the woods, basically. Well, she went off, right? You got this story when you got the hero epics and stuff, right? The hero, he goes off and then he comes back. And what's his name? The guitar player, Johnson, who came back. He met the devil at the crossroads. He came back and he's a super guitar player. Mm-hmm. She done that and she came back to her divorce in the black. But it wasn't in the black because all this other stuff was going on. And then at the end, it's just like, wait, this situation is still turmoil. So for that reason, and then like she went off in like I don't know, a couple days, everything is great, and then she became Jennifer Lopez in Enough a little bit, and then they're throwing in all this stuff. Hey, the daddy went to the house, he done this and this, and it has nothing to do with what happened in the movie. Why is it there?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you a 2 because something happened, right? I seen this guy, he was kind of crazy, but they had this family. I didn't know why. I need a backstory of the family. Why is this family like this? I guess you don't need it. Mm-hmm. But I was just interested, like, come on, bro. Give me something.
Yeah. And it just wasn't there,
And
so.
A really good movie is that, this may be kind of a spoiler, but the Dallas, who is his, Megan Good husband, plays his husband, Ava's husband. If he would have turned around, right? And then been like, oh, okay, I know I come from this, but I'm not this anymore. Bam.
His
happy
character
ending,
arc, was just, unchanged.
He probably traveled down the tunnel or something, but yeah.
But we have to think about the target market. Tyler Perry films are really kind of like made for women mostly. And, he needs that female audience to be there. And so strong female leads are going to be important. And, the male characters are less important.
Do the women like good men? I guess when you counter it with the other man who always comes and swoop in.
Yeah,
in the Tyler Perry movies.
Women who like romance like hero men, right? The man who's going to come in and make everything okay. So, let's talk about the entertainment, the overall entertainment value. And so for me, I'm going to rate the overall entertainment value a 4. And the reason it gets a 4, which is low, is because there were points in this film where I was just like, just get it over with. In a way, I just wanted the bullet points. Just show me the most ratchet things, and then I feel like I've seen all I needed to see. And I was ready for it to end, and I was like, man, this movie. And because Tyler Perry films tend to be like almost 2 hours long, and I was like, come on now. Let's just get to it. We already know what's going to happen, so give it to me. That's kind of how I was feeling, impatient. And that's different because we've seen so many movies lately where, you have a movie you watch and you're like, okay, it's a nice time killer. It is not going to be up for an Oscar, but, it's a cute little movie. Okay. And I was entertained. And I feel like with this movie, I was just like, can it just be over though?
Okay. So as we do these, you'll probably hear me say this over and over, but most movies that I watch and are made, the story happens, right? So it's not like, oh, this story doesn't happen, right? So I'm waiting to see what happens. That's what I've done. Oh, this happened and this happened and this happened. I'm trying to see what's going on, right? So it's just like somebody who's not a professional, who's a storyteller, right? You might sit around with somebody like, let me tell you what happened the other day. So I went to work. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of those sort of things. And I could be entertained by that.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, unless there's something very glaring that's off, just like, man, I don't want to watch this. And it happens at times. Right. But with this one, I didn't find myself like you. I just found myself, okay, I'll need to know what happened, because I still had hope, you know, foolishly, that maybe Tyler Perry is going to give me something, but he really didn't. So when it comes to entertainment, I'll just still give him about a 5.
Okay.
You know?
Look at that. So my overall rating for Divorce in the Black, 5.3.
Oh, that's not bad. Because, and I give it a 4.2.
So a 5.3 would be just average.
Yeah.
4.2 is slightly below average, but
Right,
like, you
and-
know, yeah.
But because people just like, I think we're all hyperbolic. And then we have this whole fallacy of recency thing, right? Like his most recent thing has to be his worst, because it's the closest touch point you have to the foolishness.
What's
right?
funny is somebody in the comments on a different video said, this is Tyler Perry's best film since
Best.
Acrimony. Yes.
Oh, what movies did he do since then? He done a Jasmine one.
Well, and he also did
Mea Culpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we told you that was horrific.
Yeah, but see, that's how we do now. Like, I do that too, right? Sometimes I'll be like, oh man, this sucks, but it really don't.
Yeah, it's, you know,
That's it.
and this is why I think the rating system is kind of good, because it forces us to or at least as objectively as we can, look at these different categories, and then it gives us a number. Because if I was going to rate the film, I would have probably rated it lower than a 5 out of 10, right?
Yeah, and I would have rated it lower than a 4.
You know, but our actual true rating turned out to be higher by a point or more for each of us.
You know, stuff that we find to be important in films, like cinematography, plot, entertainment value, sound, acting, and editing and such, right?
Yeah.
So if you have any ideas of what categories we should be incorporating into our ratings, then go ahead and let us know in the comments, and we can go ahead and update these too.
I think we should
when
have
get
like
better ideas.
a ratchet factor
Bruh,
that
no.
we put on.
But so how do you rate it? Is the ratchet factor a negative value?
No, it's not. It's just how ratchet is it? So like if
Does
it's
it
a
go
10 in
into-
ratchetry,
Does it
then,
go into the rating?
Yeah.
So let's say
yeah,
a
okay.
movie's-
So how should it?
Let's
so maybe
say
it shouldn't affect.
color purple's not ratchet, then it's gonna hurt.
Okay, so maybe it shouldn't affect the rating at all. So it doesn't tip the scale one way
We
or the
just
other.
need to know how
It's
ratchet.
just, we want to
We're
know.
gonna have a separate ratchet scale. Okay, we need to know that. We're gonna have a whole separate category for ratchetness to rate ratchetness, right?
Our ratchetness rating is
Oh, we're gonna
But-
go ahead and you know.
because that informs me like of what to expect. Not just that it's Tyler Perry, but it's like, okay, maybe there's and I just say Tubi movie, but we know that a lot of folks
Yeah.
love the Tubi movies, and some of them are good, you know, but it's just kind of like, okay, here's what to expect. Should I come to this film expecting the Tubi movie, or should I come to this film like, you know, this might be an Oscar,
Oscar worthy
performance.
So, but I think some of that is summed up in entertainment, right? Because I can watch a movie and be like, man, it was so bad, I loved it, I'm gonna watch it again to see how bad it is, right? And so maybe I'll be like, oh, my entertainment factor is up to, I don't know, like a 9 now, right? If I were to do that. But yeah, so
So this is basically like concluding the non-spoiler portion of our video. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to hear any spoilers, go ahead and just hop off the call right now.
hop off the
You know,
call.
because y'all know, look, we in the Zoom call, culture now. So just go on and hop off the call and then watch the movie and then come on back. And by the way, the movie was on Amazon or is on Amazon.
We're about
at this
to do
point.
a little breakout right now.
Yeah, because we got some things we got to discuss about this film. Like,
We're going to go over this opening scene, y'all.
we are. We're going to break down the opening scene, and then we'll talk more about other things as time permits. So let's just get into the opening scene now.
The Holy Spirit speaks to me.
Okay, so we open up into the church scene, right? Not Another Church Movie. If you don't know, we done an actual review of this Tyler Perry disc movie called Not Another Church Movie, and it was bad. It was worse than the Tyler Perry movie. But when I watched this, I was like, oh, this is that. This is what I expected from Not Another Church Movie. But in Not Another Church Movie, they didn't go to church to the end of the movie. You don't see church really in the whole movie. But yeah, so we go into this church. It's one of those small town churches. It looked like the church is from the 40s. They got the fans, everybody in there sweating and everything. And we have Clarence, who is preaching, who is Ava.
And we just don't
Father.
even know what's going on. There's just a preacher and we're assuming we're going to hear a typical sermon, but then we see it's a casket. So we know it's a funeral. Okay, we can deal.
And he's talking about, a lot of times he don't have conviction when he's doing these funerals because the person was a good soul.
They died in Christ.
But this guy.
Because the person who died in Christ.
Cody Bertrand.
And his brothers.
Cody Bertrand and his brothers.
God told him to bash this man in the church because I'm going to pull out scripture to tell you how this man is in hell.
And he found himself in hell.
Wait, what? Wait.
You open the movie with that, but he was so wordy. Why it took you so long to say this?
Because, preachers are wordy. But yes, but just think about this. The audacity to be, whilst not really eulogizing, but to be talking about somebody who is laid out, on the funeral slab.
This was supposed to be the eulogy.
Well, okay, the eulogy. You done eulogized him. You're supposed to say nice things about a person and their life and, whatever positive things you could say. And he just is like, I'm using this. And I'm saying that this person who is laid out right here, that his spirit is in hell.
Will not come to this place of torment.
That is what this preacher has said in the first 30 seconds of this Tyler Perry film. So we already know it's being set up for just some over the top stuff. And we find out that, Cody Bertrand, the one who's died, is only 39 years old.
Think about 39-year-old.
So he has met an early end to his life.
In hell.
Bruh.
And then he's like, basically he's making the case for the fact that the brother has died and he would be wanting to send back word to his other living brother.
So that they would try to do right.
Just to say, I'm in hell because of my deeds.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be in hell, so change your ways.
So that they would not wind up where he was.
But how Richard Lawson is like, in hell.
In hell.
So he say God will judge your deeds.
God will judge your deeds.
But meanwhile, I'm the preacher up here and I'm judging him and I'm saying he's in hell.
Well, he said the Holy Spirit had told him.
Okay. So the all right. That's what he said. So the Holy Spirit told him to deliver this to these fine people in church.
In the front of everybody.
At a funeral.
While they're grieving. That's what the Holy Spirit had said.
So
according to him.
What we do know is the Bertrands are this family, and Dallas, who is Ava's husband, is in that family. And Ava is the daughter of this preacher. And Debbie Morgan, Jean, is her mama.
Right.
And the wife of Clarence. So he is up there talking about
just basically what a dirtbag that this dead man is,
and his son-in-law too,
and his son-in-law. Well, his son-in-law's and his son-in-law because he's grouping them in, right? This is his son-in-law's
like, you need to
family.
come back and tell your brother that you gonna be in hell too if you don't change your ways.
Yes, and so it's just, but yeah, it's just getting more and more ratcheted up.
And this is one of these characters that, as you know from watching the movie, we're supposed to like this guy.
He's a preacher.
But you in the pulpit, you're doing this, bruh, and I don't like you.
Mm-hmm. So he continues on talking, and he's just saying, hey, this is your chance to get right with God.
To have a chance to get your life right with God.
He's talking specifically to the sons, right? So Cody's brothers who are still living.
A chance for you not to go the way of your older brother.
To say, get your life right. But is this the time? Is this appropriate in here? You could look at the pain on the Bertrand's faces, the mother's face, and anger, because in our moment of grief, you who are supposed to be comforting the family are choosing to have this come to Jesus moment.
Well, and, I guess you could call it that.
It's not right.
You're just trying to berate somebody in public,
Kicking
right? If you really cared, you could have talked to them before this. I'm sure. Didn't you talk, or you just showed up? You showed up at the day of the funeral and was like, yeah, all right, I'm speaking now. Why didn't you have this conversation some other time, bro?
Mm-hmm. It's very personal. Clearly,
it's meant to be ridiculous. That's I think that's the point of the writing, and that's what triggered that post, right? Because Tyler Perry knows his audience. He know we want the ridiculousness, right?
Oh, and it's gonna get more ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is just the bread. We about to get it toasted and buttered. So then the mama jumps in.
You saying my boy's in hell?
He's talking about, he wouldn't be basically the man of God if
What kind of representative of God would I be
he didn't stand on the holy place and tell the truth, supposedly.
if I didn't stand on this holy place and tell the truth?
But the mama is like,
Yeah.
are you saying my son is in hell?
You saying my boy's in hell?
Because she's realizing that this isn't what she signed up for, right? As this
Yeah.
is going on.
Yeah, but Ava's mama is like, amen.
Amen.
And, she's agreeing with this. Yeah, this is just so crazy that people would say, oh, the truth. But when you're talking about subjective things, to try to just say, I'm just telling the truth, that's not how
And
that
even
works.
if it is the truth, you should have at least an ounce enough of humanity to recognize that this is not the time for that. But, I would say there are points where we have emotional outbursts, but this is your job, dude. Like, even though you have a personal connection to this because your daughter's married into this family, you are the preacher at the funeral. You should have it together. And this is unacceptable what's happening
so
here.
when you talk about how bad this family is, it make me see like, wait, your family is probably as bad. Like your family don't seem that good,
Something
bro.
ain't right at your own place. But he's steadily saying, and I think we see this a lot, right? He's like, if I didn't tell the truth, what kind of, representative of God would I be if I didn't tell the truth? But a lot of it was personal. How you chose to tell the truth was personal. The fact that you did public shame, that's personal. That is very personal. And it is actually retaliatory. Let's just be honest. You're angry because your daughter is part of this family that you look at and you find repugnant. That's the bottom line.
There's been lots of crime and lots of bullying and havoc that you boys have wreaked.
Then it wasn't even enough that he's like going in on the son who's dead, but he goes in on the family. He's talking about, one of the sons didn't, left school after the 5th grade.
You went to elementary school and dropped out in the 5th grade.
And we do find out that Dallas is the only one who has graduated high school.
Dallas was the only one who graduated high school.
And tried not to have a life of crime.
Was the only one who tried not to go the way of crime.
And then he turns to the mother and he blames the mother and says, because you didn't raise your kids right.
Miss Linda, you have made this town miserable because you didn't raise your boys right.
Now, there may be some truth to that, but why are we doing it here in front of this, body that's laid out that you need to just let this family get their family member put away? You up here doing this stuff. And every time the mother has tried to raise up to, to speak back, because she was like, don't say that, Dallas is only, has only been, quote, good because of your daughter, because she's only been judgmental toward him.
This girl has done nothing for my boy but judge him.
And we can imagine she's been judgmental because look at the daddy.
So let's say you're a church person, right? And I'm trying to spread church, right? Not religion necessarily, right? I want folks to get back into church and everything because that was kind of the goal, I guess you could say, that Tyler Perry had, right? Let's say I'm not a Christian. I'm not from the U.S. I ain't been raised in this particular, Protestant type religion, maybe.
The culture. Yeah.
And then
Black church culture.
I'm sitting in there and then somebody say, this is the Holy Spirit speaking through me, and this is what he's doing with what they call now in politics, this vitriol, right? I'm like, wait, what? This the Holy Spirit talking over here? Let me go and get out this church.
Yeah, but I think that people feel a sense of such righteousness, and this is the problem that that you see in the church a lot of times, is folks feel so righteous because they feel that they can do no wrong, or they are living right, and they're quick to judge other people and what they have done, that they don't create a welcoming environment for other people. They're not able to meet the people who need the help the most. Why is this family in a life of crime? Why, and we later see in the film that, they're kind of living out of a few trailers and stuff like that. So clearly there's some economic depression going on. Where's the daddy?
But see,
what all is going on?
When you don't really have that depth, then you can't incorporate those sort of themes into your stories that you're telling too, right? Because if you're going to make this big stink about how they are, then you need to tell me how it gets that way. And a lot of times it's going to point to the economic system that we're in. And that's the type of movie I need to see if we're doing this, especially when you're calling it In the Black. Right. So you got married this guy who's in this poor family who basically suffering in that way, maybe a bunch of trauma and stuff that's been passed down. right? And then you gonna be in the black, and he just going back to his old poor trailer home. You know what I'm saying?
But
It's
it's
just these ideas.
Instead of looking at people's lives and saying that maybe we all need to be graded with a curve of grace, right? Our curve being our circumstance has a lot to do with where we are today. If you didn't have the same challenges as somebody else, for you to sit there and look like they should be where I am with the same effort, that's highly ridiculous and judgmental. But, you know, we see it all the time. And just to explain what I mean further, you know, we all understand that because most of our audience is black, we all understand what it's like to be black in America and other places in the world. And we understand that it's like there is a bit of more than just a bit, you know, all the isms that affect us are things that put us behind the starting line. So somebody else is starting at the starting line. We're starting, you know, meters behind the starting line, but we're supposed to finish the race at the same time. And that's not how it works. And you could look at it the same way economically, because we actually might mostly be black, right? But we come from different economic strata, right? And that affects where we were able to, you know, where we were able to be. So that a person who comes from meters behind the starting line and is at the same place as you, who started some of us in front of the starting line, has worked a different, they have a different experience. And to try to make it like it's the same is being very short-sighted. And if you care, then you'd be looking at it that way to understand the grace that we ought to be giving one another for these situations. But the preacher is not hearing it.
Yeah. Why do you open a movie like this, you know? Because I think that's where we are. So like, all right, if you don't know about so-called content creation, right, then, which I would call Tyler Perry, that's what he's doing, because he's stepped out of the realm of film. He's trying to basically capture some of the zeitgeist and just the memes of the day, right? And if you have a video out there, and kind of like what we do, you want that first part to capture the people so that they will continue to watch, right? With this, if you can capture them early enough and they'll be like, man, this is a hot mess, then you got them basically for the rest of the movie. So then when it comes to trying to come with a rating, then you may be more gracious that way, right? So he's giving you what you want early. You don't have to wait. I do like movies that get to the action quickly. Don't get me wrong. I do like that. But wow, you know, like this is, I didn't bargain for this.
The Bible says if you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Hold up. This whole conflict of interest sort of a thing. Like,
because he tried to rob an elderly member of this church.
So a member of the church killed Cody Bertrand.
And she shot him dead.
Yes, an elderly member who, when he tried to break in on her, she killed him. Shot and killed him.
Breaking into old folks' home.
And then somehow it ends up in your church. Did she show up at this day? Because you got people in the audience who's clapping and amening and all this to all this stuff he's saying. But is it that they wanted some sort of retribution, right? So now, oh yeah, preacher gonna destroy them at the funeral. They came
to see the show, probably.
Yeah, they like, oh, we know he gonna go in. Preacher gonna go in on that boy, because after being murdered, well, I ain't gonna say murdered, after being killed, you know, by one of the members. I wonder if she's in there.
In the back of you.
She in the choir still singing at his funeral, man. So Linda stands up. She like, I'm not taking this.
I'm not taking this.
And then, you know, Ava, they try to make her seem like she's all reasonable and concerned. And she like, Miss Linda.
Miss Linda.
Shut up!
And Ava had also tried to tell her daddy to shut up too.
She ain't say it loud enough.
She said, "Daddy," in the middle of when he's doing all his stuff. He can't hear you.
She know that. And then, but Linda's just like, shut up. She just got these one-liners, man.
You said it. Your daddy was gonna say something good about my boy.
So we find out that they are paying.
It's because of her that we are paying to bury your son.
Yes, Ava's family is paying for the funeral. Her father's gonna preach the funeral because, you know, we already established that the Bertrands looked like they didn't really have a whole lot of money, and so they needed help with this, with all of this. But she also says, Miss Linda, the mother of Cody, who is in the casket, she says, "You said your daddy was gonna say something nice about my son."
But I knew I shouldn't have believed you.
Did he say his family paid, or did he just say we? Is it the church or is it his family?
Well, that's a good question.
So if it's the church, why you acting like this, bro?
Well, go to the comments. Tell us when he says we, do you think he means the church or specifically their family paid for the Bertrand son's funeral?
So how do you feel about the siblings, right? Because you do have the brother who is married to this woman, and I guess they're making money, right? They got a nice little house and stuff, maybe. So why couldn't she or they do it, right?
Their family
Their
household
family.
be the one to pay because they, clearly has some money.
So is it just bad writing again?
Good question.
Yeah, but now we know. So it's about to get more ridiculous if it's now we paying for this too. So you paying for this? He's preaching like you don't know nobody else who could have spoke.
But the other thing is too, Miss Linda says that. Do you think that makes a difference to us?
And that's supposed to mean something to us?
And she has a point, but see, it's meant to make her look ungrateful, right? She's supposed to be looking like this ungrateful, you don't have a thing, trifling mother. That's how she's supposed to look. And who then is ungrateful and says, you think we care that you paid, but what she's really saying, like, that's not the issue at hand here. We're trying to get him put away. And you over here, using this as an opportunity to, just hurt us.
Okay, so Linda turns around to the congregation or the church, and she's like, yo, y'all always look down on us.
Y'all have always looked down on us. Always.
Why is all these people at this funeral, though? Right?
To see the show.
Yep. And she's like, y'all always look down on us, which is kind of indicative, right? If it's just part of the writing. So why do they always look down? And I feel for her when she stand up and do this, especially in this moment of what's going on, all of this. And then...
Do you think the Bertrands need your money?
She say, you think we need your money? And then the music starts to come in. This synth is like...
It's supposed to upset your nerves because this is just... we at just the tip of the iceberg here.
So, she stand up. She say, let me get the hell out of here before I say what's on my mind.
Let me get the hell out of here before I say what's on my mind.
And then she did good. I didn't mention her, but she did good. Because she was like, boys. And then the way she motioned, get Cody.
Boys, get Cody.
Bruh. I say,
wait.
Bruh.
And and what about this idea of what she says in that moment?
Let me get the hell out of here before I say something I ain't supposed to, right? Because so we have this contrast between these families now, but it looks like the Bertrand family is a better family because she's like, I'm not going to show out like this. I'm not going to go lower. When they went low, then we going high. So the Bertrands are going high in this moment, right? While this guy is up here just trying to air out everybody dirty laundry and stuff to the entire town. Right. She just like, I'm going to just go ahead and get out of here and I'm going to go out, keep my composure and everything. I'm not going to stoop to your level.
But she says, get Cody.
Boys.
But you
get Cody.
Boys, get Cody.
And it shows that, all right, she's in control too. She's she's orchestrating what's going on with this family.
What does get Cody mean?
Bruh, get
in
Cody.
A moment where Cody is laid up in a casket in the middle of his funeral.
I was at a funeral like that and
we were at a funeral that way. So because at first I was like, this is so crazy. This could never happen. But when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, we've actually...
This happened before.
We saw this happen at a funeral. Yes, we did. Not this way, but it was essentially the bottom line was the same thing.
Yeah. And she's just like, get Cody. And then what they do, they got to get up and get Cody.
We don't need nothing from you. You hear me?
She's like, go get him. And then here comes this acting like...
Boys.
So when you look at Corey Hardrick, it's ridiculous. It's like when Kane in Menace to Society, or what's his name, the actor? Tyron Turner.
Taron
Turner, right? Where he checks his pager at the beginning and it's like...
And nods his head.
Nods his head like to indicate that he's doing something. That's what Corey Hardrick does here. But like, she's like, get him. And then she's like, no, hell no. And Jean, Ava's mama, gonna be like, act like all indignant and stuff after
your mouth
your
up in this
husband
church.
just done all this stuff, talking about how this boy is going to hell and his brother's going to hell, and she just say hell no, and you like, oh my God, I'm about to pass out.
Now you watch your mouth in this church.
I know.
What in the world, Tyler Perry?
But what else was kind of wild in that moment was, I think that Dallas, Corey's character, he's like, I can't even process what's going on around
Get him!
me. Because when the other boys get up, one of his brothers say, come on, boy.
Come on, boy. Yep.
Dallas.
Like you too, because mama done told us to get up and go get, Cody. And so he's looking, and then he gets up, and then she's like, boys, and he like, huh, mama? Like he's ready to whatever she said, to do what she wants done. But then she makes this like impossible demand in this moment. Well, we'll see. It ain't impossible, but it seems impossible.
Miss Linda.
You did this!
So then the mothers are at odds with each other. We see that Ava's mother is like, we were trying to help you.
We were trying to help you.
Mama, please.
Because she's standing up on her, standing high and looking low down on these folks that she doesn't think are as good as she is. The mother's like, no,
Mama, don't do that. Mama, don't do that.
And then the next thing you know, you hear everybody like, mama, no.
Because they know how
Mama,
she
don't
is.
do that.
You know how she is.
No. We're not doing that.
She done snatched off her hat. She should have snatched off a wig, because this was basically like a take on How to Get Away with Murder when Viola Davis snatched her wig off at the end of the day, sort of. Or like when people just say they're going to snatch their wig off, or actually do snatch their wig off. But what she's doing, she's taking her clothes off because, they provided clothes for them for some reason. Like, after watching the movie, none of this stuff makes sense.
But they paid for the funeral because they're trying to bring the Bertrands up to what their standards are to come step foot in their church, right? So, you got to look nice, you got to whatever. So let me give you a church hat, let me give you an outfit or whatever, and you could come to this church. And they like, mama, no. She starts taking her clothes off in the middle of the church.
She's an overweight black lady making angry faces. She has a wrap around her head. Mm-hmm. And she's just taking the clothes off.
So it's supposed to be extra repugnant because we know that America and other, folks cannot stand to see a black woman who isn't a size 0 begin to disrobe. Like nobody's ever seen that before.
Lord, oh my Lord, have mercy.
Even before that, she was sitting with her legs gapped open.
Yeah.
You think I need these hand-me-down clothes that your mama gave me? Huh?
So, that's just some things to indicate. And I don't know if we put this on the actor or the director or both, but, people come up with how they're going to, basically portray a character and tell us things about them.
Yeah.
We the Bertrands, baby, don't you forget it. And we don't need nothing from you.
She say, we the Bertrands, baby, and don't you forget it.
We the Bertrands, baby.
We the Bertrands, baby.
Oh, man. And don't you forget it. Like, that's in my vernacular from now on. We the Bertrands, baby.
Bertrands,
and don't
baby.
you forget it. You think we need something for you? We the Bertrands,
Bruh,
baby.
I don't know where y'all from, but in, smaller towns and stuff, that this happens where families have reputations, and you hear the name and you know this family and whatever baggage or whatever from the past, they just have reputations. So it's like, they're from that family.
Yeah, I mean, and I even witnessed that, being from a bigger town, you don't quite have that same dynamic. Maybe at the church, or maybe, at, someplace where people gather together. But in a small town, it's like, everybody maybe knows everybody. Because even in your town, there was a family that had a reputation. And apparently they also all looked alike. And then we were at the Walmart and we saw a member of the family. And it was kind of like, explained that this is the family with this reputation or whatever.
They all look alike.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, then.
Uh-huh.
Real life. So this is realistic then, and those of you who come from smaller towns, chime in the comments and let us know, like, do some families have reputations?
Yeah, and then the thing is, too, like, you make judgments about people. Like, when somebody brings somebody in as a significant other, you be like, so who is this people? I need to know who they people are. Are they the Bertrands? You getting with a Bertrand? You getting with a Bertrand, man? What in the world? We the Bertrands, baby.
I know, right?
So the mama is like, get him. Because she
She's
still
like,
won't
"Get
get Cody. Get him. And then they
go
start
in
to
try
go get the casket.
Yes,
and she
she
say, not the casket.
not the casket.
Not the casket.
Like she is like the actress. What is her name?
She killed this line.
You know, this actress,
Ursula O. Robinson.
Ursula O. Robinson. Like Ursula did her thing, baby, because in this scene, she was just like, not the casket. And then as you're watching it, you're like, not the casket. They gonna pull the body out the casket.
You have to listen to the sound and stuff too. So the music is like, and then they go, then it stops. Not the casket.
Not the casket.
And you know, we shouldn't be laughing, but I have to blame Tyler Perry because it has gone
He
into
knew
the
what he was doing.
land of ridiculousness, right? But it is crazy that
Yeah, so think about it. The first time you watched it, some people probably here and they haven't watched it. First time you watch it, you're like, okay, they're gonna take the casket out. You know, she say, get them out. They get the casket, and that's bad enough. Man, this is crazy.
We taking
and then
out
she's
person.
like, not the casket.
So we just gonna take him out raw.
Bruh, raw dog in them.
Tyler Perry. Why?
Not the casket. Take him out.
Not the casket.
Take him out.
Take him out.
And you know, I'm just trying to think of like, how was this filmed? Like, was Tyler there like, no, 90, take number 90?
Bruh.
Or did she just bring this? Was he like, no, I just need a little bit of more, what do I need to make this better? You know, it's not the feel that I want for right now. But like, the way she says, take them out.
Give me precious mama.
Yes. Yeah. He said, channel precious mama. But let me tell you something. Tyler Perry, I don't care what you do. And you trying to have like the worst mother. You will never top Monique as precious mama.
Wasn't Tyler Perry supposed to be hiring Monique for something?
I think so.
This probably was the role. And Monique was like, nah, bro. I ain't doing that.
What if this was
Monique, let us know if this is the role Tyler Perry tried to get you to do.
Go to the comments. Let us know if was this really, because obviously the obvious parallel between this and Precious at this point, you're just like, oh yeah, it's the bad overweight black mother, you know, and we're trying to reproduce that. But I don't care what you say. Precious's mother will go down in history as like the worst mother in black cinema. She got that. That's just like at the top. You can't top that.
Yep. So she just like, not the casket. Take them out. Because we the Bertrands, baby. That's how we do it.
Take them out. We the Bertrands, baby.
Oh, they gonna say it that they paid for this casket. Take him out of there.
Then you got Dallas, and he like, well, mama, how we gonna get him out of here? She said, take him out.
We gonna say we gonna get him out.
Take him out of there.
Bruh.
You know, like, and then he jumps, and you could see by the way he jumps that like there is this, it's almost like the way a person would react to their abuser or whatever, you know. So to me, this was well played as far as how he's responded, because so they've been instructed to take their brother out of the casket in the middle of the funeral.
Okay, so the way they're carrying him, I don't know. I never prepared a body. But is he stiff or is he loose? What's going on?
Is he loose?
Is he loose?
He shouldn't be stiff days after, you know, he's been prepared or whatever. He shouldn't be stiff.
Why they didn't use a fake body? Because the dude who they had is holding his head up while they're carrying him, but they're not holding his arms and his legs. But what if, like, are your connective tissue still good? Because, like, is that why they carried him like that? Because what if being Tyler Perry, they should have just had him carry the limbs and then just start ripping apart as they carry the body out.
Because at this point, why not?
Because you gonna stack foolishness on top of foolishness. You got to be like, and they ripped the limbs off and had to drag them out. Think about it. They start carrying and be like, crack, 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 and like, ooh, ooh. every time it happened. Ooh.
Oh my gosh! Shut up! Just shut up, please.
So, did the family pay for the suit? They might have to take that off too.
My gosh.
Because she's talking about what they paid for.
If y'all are
and
at
stuff.
work and about to get in trouble because you were busted up laughing, like I'm doing over here, wiping my tears because this is ridiculous. But you're right. Like, if we're going to take it there, take it there.
Take it all the way there. I want to see limbs coming off and stuff. And his head should be flopping back. And from the angle, like, you're going to see it when we play it again. But the angle of when they're carrying him out, his head should be back facing us. That's the shot. And then you do the dolly shot fast towards him. Or what's the shot called? The crane shot and zoom in.
Oh my God,
toward him. Or you could do a double dolly shot too, man. Come on, man. You got to really.
Oh my God.
They would have gave you a couple more points on the cinematography scale, bro.
Oh, man. I mean, because I feel like if you're going to take it there, just go ahead
But
and
his
do it.
head wasn't loose enough for me.
But they are literally taking this body out, walking him out of the church house where his funeral was
You
supposed
know
to be.
he heavy. What if somebody would have just put him over his shoulder?
And then think about this too, though. The congregation, they're all like, oh my goodness. Ah! You know, like they're hollering the way the audience is probably like Tyler envisions the audience hollering as we watch
looking
and
away
witness
and
this.
stuff.
But y'all knew, y'all came for the show. The audience, not the audience, but the congregation. You came for the show because you don't even like these people.
Yeah.
You came
And
to
got
see
what
what
you
would
asked for.
happen.
Now, just imagine if you would have came for that and then you got to see some limbs get broken off.
It's not funny, but it's so ridiculous that I have to laugh because it didn't have to be like this, Tyler. It didn't really have to be like. Let me tell you a scene where, isn't there a movie where a body falls out of the casket? Like, I think there might be a couple movies, but one that comes to mind that was always really haunting to me is the first Pet Cemetery. That came out in, I think, the 90s or somewhere, maybe late 80s, but in the 90s, I think. And the little boy's body, not the whole thing, but like the casket falls and then you see like a limb kind of peek out and tease you.
I don't even remember
And when I
that.
tell you, that was just like, but it didn't, you wasn't laughing when you saw that.
Yeah.
See, truly the way the scene is filmed and what is going on, like you could literally have the exact same thing that happened in this scene not make you want to laugh. And see, we talked about this in the past where stuff is so ridiculous and over the top that it makes you laugh. But there are other things where the same thing could be happening and you not laugh. So it's clearly how it's placed in the film that elicits this inappropriate response. Because what did Tyler Perry want us to be doing? Gasping, I guess.
Yeah,
and
he
clutching
wanted
pearls.
us just like that. Like, man, can you believe that? Now you should have just took some of them limbs too. You ain't even got to take them off, like, because if you carrying them in the suit and you holding it by the
got to
sleeve,
let the
and then it
limbs
rip
thing
off, and then
go.
it just start dangling
Well,
more.
and then they're gonna fall through, right? Because you know, a lot of times they split the back of the suit or the dress, right? Because you know you got to dress the person so they're only dressed to be viewed from the front, right?
Yeah, so you're holding the sleeve, the arm break off, and the body fall through the back of the suit.
And then you just naked, or underwear. Because I don't know, do they put underwear on corpses? Somebody go to the comments. I know somebody's a mortician or something. Let us know, because that's an answer I honestly don't know the answer to. But yeah, it could have been real. I mean, because if you're gonna do this and make it almost high comedy, why not?
Yeah. So in the midst of all this, the no good preacher, it's like they could have the body. God has already claimed the soul, basically.
They can have the body. God has already passed judgment on the soul.
He's going to hell, basically. You know, so like even as they leave, he's like, that's all right, let him go. You know, you basically elicited this response from them. Like you pushed them to, what were they supposed to do? Sit there in their grief and listen to you lecture them in this moment? Like, so really it was designed to get them to leave and make this whole scene. So really, preacher, I blame you. You know, so yeah, but he continues to talk mess as they're walking out.
So they leave. They put him in the back of a pickup truck, an old pickup truck. and some of the sons are sitting in the back of the truck with them. I'm like, did y'all show up at the funeral like this too?
Yeah, well, you know they didn't have no limo.
Yeah, but come on, just think, hey y'all, let's go to the funeral. Let me hop in the back of the truck.
Like literally, they lowered the tailgate and they just put the body on back there.
Put the body back there. At least it looked like they took some care when they put the body back there. Because if it was me, I'm just gonna push you.
But he's clearly stiff because you can see his like hands are balled up, like in this scene anyway. When they put him,
they
in the
might
back of the
glue
truck.
them though shut or whatever.
Maybe, I don't know what
or
they
sew
do.
them or whatever.
Yeah,
sew
tack
them
it down so it
together.
won't be moving around. I don't know, but this was just Tyler, whatever your middle name is, Perry. If you have a
Yeah.
middle name, like you did not have to do this.
Yeah,
You did not have to do this,
It did.
but you did.
Yep,
And so when you see this at the beginning, this just lets you know what's going to happen in the rest of the movie. And we probably can just quickly glaze over kind of what happens.
they go and they bury him on their land.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
They might have been poor, but at least they had some land.
yeah, they had some land. But I think if y'all want us to really do a breakdown of this, y'all need to just subscribe and comment and tell us that you really want us to, because we could do a full breakdown, or we can, just speak on some other scenes
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah, and let us know which specific scenes you want to hear about, because this one scene, just to talk about this was enough. But I mean, just to complete the rundown aspect of things, essentially what you think happens in the movie happens. He later goes on, they're on a double date or whatever, and Dallas announces that he wants a divorce and embarrasses her in front of her friends and stuff like that, and he's acting all erratic and everything, and so he's clearly showing signs of mental issues. And then of course, she starts moving forward with her life. He doesn't like it, and he wants that old thing back, and he's convinced that she's been cheating or whatever. And so he begins to do all the stuff that you've seen in a million other movies before. And just imagine, like you mentioned earlier, Enough with Jennifer Lopez and all of those other stalker movies, and then that's really what happens in the movie. And at the end, her character arc is simply that, okay, I was weak and I let myself be abused in this relationship, and I'm getting myself back and I'm going to fight back. That's really the end of her arc. Because at the end of the day, nothing is really resolved. Although, let me just say this. At one point in the movie, her daddy decides he's had enough when Dallas has attacked the mother. And he to go over there with his about to handle business, and he gets basically almost killed.
Yeah. And then that's basically how they end the movie. He's basically in the hospital, and they have a little confrontation. And the Bertrands don't do nothing because they're not that bad of a family. Just when you on their land threatening them, they gonna shoot you, bro. That's basically what happened.
Standing their ground.
They shut up. Standing their ground. Oh man, that's what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, oh come on, it's not that good, y'all.
Just a bunch of foolishness
It's not that good.
strung together.
I give it a 4.2.
And of course, I gave it a 5.3. So definitely let us know if you want more of this movie, and we will be glad to talk about it.
And if you made it this far into this nice long review, type "not the casket" in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
Not the casket. Be sure to check out the video that's on the screen right now, and also check out links to our other channels, because we have content on multiple channels. Some of y'all don't know that, and so it's not just what you see on this channel that you could be watching. You could be watching stuff across 3 channels, so check them out. The links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.